Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm EVM and this is the Corsa-e. Now I'm going to be brutally honest, I never really got on with Vauxhalls. Throughout my childhood, we always ended up getting a Ford Escort rather than an Astra, for example. And then in 2003, my wife bought her very first brand new car. It was a Corsa Active 1 litre 12 valve. It was before I had any influence on the car purchases at the time. Now, I'll be honest, I really didn't like that car. Uninspiring is the only word I can think of. I almost hated it, if I'm honest, and always tried to drive mine instead of that one wherever possible. But in the 7 years we owned it, it never put a foot wrong. The only money we spent on it was effectively wear and tear items. So I can't really fault it either. Now, this is a different kettle of fish because Vauxhall are now part of the PSA Group, along with Citroën, Peugeot and DS. So they've got a completely different parts bin to plunder. So has that changed the ethos of Vauxhall? Have they gone from generic manufacturer for the masses to something else? Or have they kind of sticking to what they were always really good at, I suppose? As with very recent videos and the current restrictions, I'm doing this where it's safe in my driving garageway. So let's carry on, have a look around the outside, then the inside, and we'll take it out on the road to see what it's like to drive. From the front, there are a couple of things I do quite like. This bonnet crease in the middle here looks better in the person than it does on camera. I quite like the way the lights wrap around there. That's quite nice. It's a very wide grille, clearly designed to give it more of a landscape approach, I suppose, and a wider presence. This, of course, is a top spec car, so a lot of the things you see on here won't be standard on all models, of course. That should be in your mind. Overall, though, I think it's a little safe. It is a little bit Vauxhall when it comes to its design for me, and that's not a negative, that's not criticism. I just think that the designer has been given the brief of design me a generic non-copyright Euro super mini, please, so we can put it on Google Images for everybody to use. Again, I'm not having a go. There are a lot more people out there that want a generic car to get them from A to B than there are ones that want a flair or a design icon or something like that. So I can see why they're doing it, but for me personally, I just want a little bit more interest. I mean, even though this is in bright orange almost, it still would just kind of drive down the road and no one would look at it. If this was in silver, I don't think anyone would notice it's on the road at all. It is a safe design, and again, a generic one. So for me, I want a bit more. I think the Peugeot 208 is a far better looking car. In fact, this is the car I had. Which one would you prefer? The Peugeot in terms of looks alone, or this? Let me know in the comments which one you would choose. From the side, again, nothing amazing. It's got a couple of nice creases along the bottom. One there as well, don't mind that too much. Yeah, I'm struggling to find unique things. I mean, this has got a two-tone black roof, which I'd love to know when that became a thing in manufacturer's world. The ID3 I've got over there, that's got a two-tone roof. The Nissan Leaf, when did this become a thing? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I quite like it in this colour, but I just wondered where it came from all of a sudden. The charging flap is over here. That will go up to 100 kilowatts, as the PSA Group ones do, of course. It's very similar. Overall, the only real clue that this is the electric version is little E here. It's straight down the middle design. It's not unsafe, it's not brilliant, it's not bad. It's beige walls, neutral colours, even though it's orange. The back for me is the best angle to look at this car. The steeply raked windscreen, clearly reminiscent of its PSA Group DNA. Big crease here, you've got the centre light down the middle, down the bottom, sorry, in the middle. These reflectors either side and the kind of bulbous rear bumper is almost Cupra-esque. Leon Cupra-esque anyway, in a vague sort of way. It's just got some nice interesting angles, you know, the lights, the way they curve down. This bit here, you've got a little crease there. It's interesting. Whoever designed the rear end needs to have had more input on the rest of the car for me. So now let's have a look at the boot because, oh, come on, there we go. It is a super mini and super minis usually need at least a vaguely decent boot. It's not bad, slightly smaller than the Peugeot 208. Let me bring the camera closer. Granted, you're not going to get huge in there, but as I said, it is quite practical. There's nowhere to put your cables, but anybody that's actually owned and lived with an electric vehicle will know that that is almost something you never do because, well, like me, I charge at home. If you do need to put the cables in the car though, again, you're kind of stuck with that. They will fold flat, but you won't have a flat loading bay, so it's not a family car, it's not pretending to be, but it is actually a decent sized boot for what is effectively a small super mini. Okay, let's have a look on the inside of this thing. Steering wheel first. Yep, that feels pretty nice. Standard generic steering wheel for the Vauxhall. A few nice touches here. The buttons, I actually quite like them. Not black gloss, no haptic feedback styles or anything like that. Some just functional buttons, which is good. Down here, we've got, again, standard switchgear, nothing amazing. Quite hard plastic. This is very hard plastic. This feels quite nice. That's a bit of black gloss stuff there, just with a bit of trim. And again, some hardware in plastic. Reasonable door bin, not massive, but you get a bottle in there certainly. Now we will go to here. We've got some more black gloss, which is what we need more of in cars, of course. Decent, solid build quality for the vents there. Don't think they're going to go loose. This is a strange material. I quite like that. I mean, it is very hard, but it's different. It's rather than just kind of standard bin lid plastic that a lot of cars go with. I don't mind that whatsoever. Now, let me just turn the car on by pressing this button here. And you get this dash binnacle display, of course. Oh, this needs service in a few weeks. Go on, go away, want to have a look. No idea what people have been doing here, but some gooey camera mount, I'm guessing. Anyway, this is quite a nice display. Don't mind that at all. It's easy to read, gives you all the information you want. I'm not sure about these kind of blanked out bits either side. I'm not sure why it doesn't fill it all. This bit, again, bit of a weird design choice. It's like a shiny plastic. I'm not sure what you call that or the reason for it. Over here we have the big touchscreen. Remember, this is a top spec car. Decent feeling vents there. I'll come back to that in a second. More black gloss along here, which, well, I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but there's already scratches on here that you're never going to get out. So I'm just not a fan of black gloss in general. Glove box. Utterly useless on right-hand drive cars. That's how big it is because of the fuse box. Of course, this is effectively a French-made car almost. Switch gear, you've got some actual buttons, which is good. I like buttons more than all touchscreen interfaces. I don't mind the touchscreen, but I do like some proper buttons as well. And yeah, oh, turn all that off. Decent feel to them. You've got some hard plastic again down here, some more storage for phones or whatever you want. One USB port, no USB-C, and a 12-volt adapter there. Now, of course, we've got black gloss surround, which is somewhere you're never ever going to put your fingers on, is it? So again, that's just going to be full of scratches and fingerprints. Some blanked out buttons. I never like blanked out stuff. There's no need for it these days, I don't think. I think it's nice to have each button filled in and maybe give it a different purpose. Now, the gear lever. Press that button there, put it in to drive. B mode, it does have a B mode if you want to go into that one. And forward for reverse, park. For park, of course, you have the electronic handbrake. You can change the driving modes here. Sport, normal and eco. The screen relatively easy to use. Reasonably quick, although sometimes when you click a button, it does have a little bit of a lag for it. I mean, randomly now, it's fine. Of course, now I'm pressing all the buttons, reasonably quick. But sometimes you just press a button and there's a delay of a few seconds for no reason. Other than that though, I have no problems with this at all. I actually quite like it to use. The one thing I have just noticed actually when I'm looking around, that other than this under the armrest, which starts out wider but then gets narrower as it goes down, so it's not that usable and it's not that big either, is that there's almost no closed storage, as in, so people can't see from the outside what you've got. You've just got that bit there, which of course you can see. The glove box is comically small, so that's not going to hold much. It's just nice to have a bit of hidey holes for stuff that you don't want to be on display. The seats on this particular version, which is the Elite Nav one, are very nice and supportive. Nice feel to them. You got Isofix everywhere, of course. So yeah, I quite like that. I feel comfortable right now. Again, top spec, so I should do. Overall, I actually like this a lot more than I thought I would in terms of the cabin design and the materials. Don't get me wrong, there are some cheap, hard wearing materials dotted around, but ultimately, I think this is, again, it looks worse on camera, in pictures, than it does in the flesh. I would almost say it's comparable to the E208 in design. It's a tough one, is that? The rear door is actually pretty reasonable. for a car of this size, so that's quite good. Now I've put that seat back for someone who's a good 6-footer. Let's see if I can squeeze in just about. Right, there's a little bit of space. I can't really get my feet forward, so yeah, it's a super mini, mini being the operative word. So again, if you're a tall person in the driver's seat, then the person behind you isn't going to have a huge amount of space. But you know what, for a short journey, I'm happy enough. Kids will certainly be okay in here as well. So it's not a massive rear, but again, what are you expecting out of a car this size? Overall though, I quite like that cabin. I think it's better than I thought it would be. You know, I don't think anyone will notice that I've done this video about 2 or 3 days after the first half. Now, in terms of driving this thing, if you've seen the 208 or if you've driven the 208, it's basically the same. They're identical in many, many things. Battery size, main mechanical components, speed, performance, motor. Ultimately, they're the same car effectively. So yeah, there's no real difference between them other than aesthetics for me and interior and quality, stuff like that. If you haven't seen them, effectively you're looking at about just under 7.5 seconds to 60 for this, which is, well, it's actually quicker than that sounds, because the bigger one that people probably notice the most is the 0 to 30 time, because, well, we do that all the time, don't we, when we're driving around in town and urban environments. That, with this just being an electric car, it's the very nature of an EV, is always a lot quicker than a petrol car or a combustion engine car, because you've got instant torque. In terms of handling, it's not a hot hatch, of course, it's not pretending to be. I would say that it's perfectly suitable for its primary purpose, to drive around as a super mini in urban environments, towns, even on longer journeys it'll be fine. You can feel the weight of the batteries. This is, I think, just over 1.5 tons. So compared to the petrol engine, you can definitely feel the weight difference when you're going around corners. The dampening isn't as soft because of that extra weight, of course. I mean, not that you notice it on these beautifully smooth British roads around winter time. Oh look, there's a pothole. It's fine, it doesn't shoot up your spine or anything like that. It is a comfortable car, but it kind of goes because it has to, given the weight of the 50 kilowatt hour batteries that you've got underneath your bum. One significant benefit, of course, not just for this, but of every EV, I guess, is that obviously you get that extra refinement. It's a lot quieter, the acceleration is of course a lot smoother, no gears, etc, etc. So you do always feel like when you're driving an electric version of a car that you're in something bigger and more premium, because, yeah, I mean, I'm just about to enter a de-restricted zone and I'm accelerating hard now. No drama, but I got up to speed in a nice, easy manner, and it makes this a much more refined vehicle compared to the petrol engine versions anyway. To give you an example, my brother got one of these as a courtesy car. He has an electric car. So when his was in, they give him one of these, the petrol version of it, the Bogo standard petrol version of it. And he loved that car so much, he drove straight back to the dealership the next day and demanded that they took it back and give him another courtesy car. It was that bad, in his words, not mine. Now, I don't think that's because it was a particularly bad car. It's because once you get used to that instant torque, the smoothness, the quietness, the refinement of an EV, going back to a cheap petrol engine, anyway, not necessarily all of them, but a cheap one, it's just like going back a generation or two in terms of a smartphone or something. It's like getting an iPhone 4 again or something. Now, as I kind of said before, I've never got on with Vauxhall, especially their interiors. I distinctly remember a hire car I had once, and it was, again, a bog standard 1.4 Vauxhall Astra. I think I stopped counting at 112 buttons on the interior. You know, on the stereo and all on the dash and on the stereo, everywhere. It was ridiculous. Now, however, when I look at this interior, I actually quite like it. I'm almost going to say that this is, in fact, no, I am going to say this is as good as the Peugeot E208 interior. I think that's got a bit more design flair, but that's an aesthetic choice. Obviously, everyone will be different on that one. But I would be happy in this interior as much as I would be in the Peugeots. You get the 3D display in the Peugeot, so I guess there's that. But other than that, this is nice. It is a nice place to be. Build quality, solid as a rock. So I think the PSA Group's influence on Vauxhall is a very much positive one. I wouldn't say they were terrible beforehand, but I think this is an equal to the 208. I mean, it's basically the same car, so it's not difficult, but there's no real red flags. There's nothing pointing me to that over this. Then, of course, we've got to look at other alternatives that are outside of the PSA Group. There's the Renault Zoe, for example. Would I go for the Zoe or this? Well, I would go for this, to be honest. I would go for the 208 over this, but I would go for this over the Zoe. Unless you needed that extra 30-40 miles of range, which the Zoe gives you. In the real world, I would say, certainly at the moment, where it's -2, snowy and very, very cold, I would say 140 miles is the range of this car in the real world, and 170, maybe 80 in summer. So what else have we got to compare this against in terms of an electric vehicle around this price bracket? I guess the Honda E, but that's a city town car. It's a smaller car than this. I wouldn't compare it for me. The Mini, of course, is another one, but again, I'm not sure if I'd put it in the same category. I guess it could be, but it's a more expensive car, is the Mini, once you start speccing things that realistically you're going to want on a Mini. If this is a second car, you know, like the Mini or the Honda E typically is, then I guess range is less important, because you'll just take the other car if you want to do any sort of mileage. Now, price. Before I mention the list prices, as in what it starts and ends at, it's only a starting point for negotiation is a list price for me. Less so now the internet's around, you tend to just get the prices straight up, but with a few exceptions where you have to pay the list price like Tesla, that's not what people pay typically, is it? When was the last time someone paid list price for a Corsa or a Fiesta or a Peugeot? So I've just done literally 5 minutes on Auto Trader. I haven't even bothered with Google or the various other places yet. But on Auto Trader, from a dealer, the mid-spec Corsa-e, I can't remember the name of it now, NAV something, no pre-registered or anything. I've managed to find this for just under £24,000. And now somebody's ringing me. I'll see you in a minute. If you shop around, there's some very good deals. Same with Peugeot. Vauxhall are not exclusive to this. Same with the Renault Zoe. Honda E, less so. Same with the Mini. So I look at the Zoe and the 208 and this as what you call your traditional bulk buy super minis, the ones where you are going to get the bigger discounts on. That's why I kind of compare them together. And as I said, if they were all the exact same price and same spec, I would probably go for the 208, then the Corsa, then the Zoe, for me personally, unless I needed that extra bit of range, and then that would obviously make the Zoe much more tempting. These can charge at 100 kilowatts up to, if of course you can find a charger that matches that, which is very, very difficult at the moment. The Zoe is got optional 50 kilowatt CCS. So the swings and roundabouts to them all, I just think the 208 is the pick of the bunch for me. If you are interested, the list price of this starts at just under 27 grand and goes well past 30 if you start speccing it up and go for the top range version. There's only one motor, one performance level, so it's literally just how many toys you want on it. But as I said, no one pays list price, so it's semi-irrelevant. Now, this might not strictly help anybody, but you never know. If you look at the right time of year, you might get lucky. At the end of last August, in the year that wasn't, I had a look on Auto Trader and I found 3 Corsa-Es, all from the same dealer, same colour. Again, right at the end of August, which is just before the new number plate comes in. So they were clearly needing to shift them to hit a target or something like that. Brand new, not pre-registered, again, mid-spec Corsa-E for £21,500. 21.5 grand for this. I don't think that'll happen very often, don't get me wrong. But it's never a bad thing to have a look at what's for sale at the end of August or the end of February, just before the plates come out, you might find yourself in a position to grab yourself a bargain. Just like B-mode in the other cars, really. It's not strong enough for me. I like a car with variable regenerative braking. So, you know, like Kias do it with the flappy paddles. You know, you can have like 4 or 5 different levels of regen, right down to like really strong. One pedal driving effectively. I wish more cars would do that. When you get your foot down, it's a little unnerving at speed when you get over these undulations. Again, because it's not designed for this sort of thing, is it? It's a super mini, but it's not a hot hatch. It gives you enough to be a little bit fun, as opposed to, you know, it's no Mini, for example. If I wanted an electric car that I wanted to be really good on roads like this, I would get the electric Mini. But this is more than enough, I think, for 90% of the population to have a bit of fun in and be happy. Like I said, it does wobble a bit. You can feel the weight, but not in any dangerous way or anything like that. Right, well, this randomly shot at completely different times of the week video is pretty much done now. So yeah, it's just how it has to be given the current situation we're all in. Hopefully that was useful. To summarise, this is better than I thought, and I've changed my impression, in electric car terms anyway, of Vauxhall. Maybe it's the PSA Group influence, probably is, but I no longer look at them as a budget Ford. That's going to upset a few people. Oh, I'm a Vauxhall fan. I've been a Vauxhall and I've bought them for years. They've never let me down once. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about other things. But yeah, let's not get into that in the comments. I'm saying this is a very good super mini in electric car world anyway. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Please click the like button, the subscribe button, other buttons that you just press all the buttons. That'll do. Any interaction's good. Okay, thank you. Bye.